Hi everybody, Jordan here.
Nate Parsons.
So as you guys know, May is mental health awareness. So this month we are going to do what we are calling box talks, and we are going to talk a little bit about our health journeys, our fitness journeys, and how those two things have come together to impact our mental health. And also this is your chance to get to know me a little bit, especially for those of you that are newer to Burn Evans. You guys will get to hear a little bit more about my journey. So we'll wait a couple seconds, let people get on. I see people jumping on, but.
And Jordan, tell them that this is a month-long series that we're doing with our trainers.
Month-long series. So at the end of this week, you will hear Nate's story. And then from there, you're going to hear all the different trainers. So me, Madison, Alicia, you're going to hear Nate's story, like I said, at the end of this week. And you will also hear Noemi's story. So you get to hear from the trainer's perspective, from members turned trainers. You'll be able to hear the FP story. So you guys will be able to hear across the board. So yeah.
Awesome.
Yes. Well, I see people on, so we can just jump right on in.
Sounds good. Well, I have the pleasure of playing Tom Brokaw. So Jordan has been with us for coming up on 2 years.
Yes.
Is trained over 2,000 camps and has had her own amazing journey on and off the floor.
Yes.
So Jordan, what did the beginning of your fitness journey look like?
So the beginning of my fitness journey, I feel like I have two different parts. You know, when I got into college, I knew I wanted to do exercise science. So I knew I liked fitness, but at this point, didn't really know much in the gym, didn't know anything. I just knew that I needed to be active. I knew I wanted to help others. You know, my first thought was physical therapy. But when my journey with the fitness world started, which this is when I truly count it, is after my dad passed. When my dad passed, fitness, exercise was the only thing I felt like I could control. I could control my workouts. I could get my day started with a positive note. And so it truly helped me through the passing of my dad. My dad passed when I was 20. So he passed 3 days after my birthday, and I was wrecked. I mean, it was kind of expected, but very unexpected in that time frame.
So you were a sophomore in college at that point.
I was a sophomore in college. So I was a year and a half into my major of knowing I wanted to do exercise science. But this is when I took it upon myself to learn. I wanted to learn how to better myself, how to better my mental health with that, the physical health. I still have videos of me in the gym when I first started, and it's crazy to see the journey that I've come from that. I mean, the form's not great whatsoever. I look at them, I cringe, but I keep them because that was me at one point. You know, that was my best at one point. And now I look at those, I'm like, oh, we can help that.
Did you experience that freshman 20 pounds? Like you left home for the first time, or was that not really part of?
That wasn't really part of now coming into just like trying to learn nutrition. Yes, I tried to learn nutrition a lot in the beginning of the years. I didn't have that like freshman 20 or anything, but my weight gain came from COVID and just being at home. I kind of reverted to being like a kid because I was at Steven's house. Pantry was stocked. You know, his parents are like, hey, let's have a beer at night when I would normally not do that, things like that. So that's where my weight gain came from.
And you're in your master's program at that point already.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I would say when me and Steven started dating, I was in a happy relationship. So of course, some of the weight came from just being in a happy, healthy relationship. And so that's where the weight gain came, the stress of grad school, the change of life, because what people don't talk about is the change of grad school or undergrad to grad school is entirely different. And so that's the stress of that is where my weight gain came from.
So you talked about the passing of your dad and grad school. Have there been some other challenges either through that time or, you know, since we hired you? So you came on pretty much 2 months after graduating grad school to become our lead trainer. So what has been the most challenging aspect of that, or even if it's a couple of them that are packaged together?
Yeah, so I did go through a good bit of weight gain, like I said, during grad school. I was learning a lot. So although I had knowledge, I wasn't able to implement it on myself during grad school as much as I had liked. The stress of My thesis took all of my time. I felt like I'd wake up, spent hours on my thesis. If I wasn't doing that, I was in class. If I wasn't in class, I was working my RA position, my research assistant position. So coming into Burn, I knew I wasn't where I wanted to be. I was close to 150 pounds when I started. When I graduated, I was 140, I think 48 or 49 when I graduated my grad program. When I started training here, I had already dropped a little bit. I was probably 145-ish. I think I did an in-body the first day I started, and I think I was 145 when I started. I knew physically I was not where I could be. I knew what I was capable of, but I was coming in here trying to get people that did not know me, did not know my education level, didn't know my fitness level prior, to try to listen to me and do the workouts that I'm telling them to do when I wasn't in the shape that I would have liked. Yeah. So that was a huge struggle. I was putting stress on myself to learn the members, learn the Burn way, learn how to be a group fit trainer, because I had only had personal training experience beforehand. So learning the group fit, I was learning so much. I had put so much pressure on myself, and staying after to do double unders, to work on those, to try to get it for Burn U. I pushed myself past what my body should have been able to do at the time. Pushing myself to the double unders, I got really bad shin splints. And then when I got to Burn U, that stress from the week and not passing the SAC test, it was hard on me. I mean, I just was so stressed. I noticed that. So I took a little time to regroup after Burn U. I mean, I came back and now I felt like I had the knowledge of the Burn way when I came back, but I still didn't feel like I was physically there where I wanted to be. The SAC was live on Facebook for all to see, so that was hard to come back for physically still. So, I felt like I had made progress in one area, but almost taken a further step back in the physical area.
So, one of the things we're wanting to do with this video series throughout this month is to kind of give everyone in this community a peek behind the curtain. So you talked about some of the feelings and emotions. What were some of the skill sets that you had to kind of lean on to help get over, the disappointment and, whether it was embarrassment or, just associated with that whole transition? Obviously you didn't get stuck, right? And we all start somewhere, and we have members from all ages, all fitness levels, all kinds of life challenges, either before or while you guys are here. So what did you use? What were the relationships or skill sets that you leaned on to get you out of that and kind of refocused?
I gave myself some time to regroup, for sure. I tried to take a step back. I remember in October of 21, when I went to Burn U, I had a lot of friends' weddings, so I was traveling a lot, and November into December, family for the holidays. So I kind of just leaned on my family and friends to just kind of take a break, like just not put myself through as much stress. I stopped telling myself I need to lose weight. I just said, we're going to take the next couple of months to kind of regroup. And as soon as I told myself that, that's when I saw the weight go. I wasn't strict on my diet at that time. But I let everything go for a couple months, and letting go of that stress, that's when I saw the biggest change in my body composition specifically. And then I was able to focus on workouts and kind of find the fun in them again, rather than I have to. When I told myself I have to, I feel cornered. I don't like to feel cornered. That's with diet, that's with exercise, that's really with anything. I don't like to feel restricted to I have to. I like to have options or ranges when it comes to nutrition. Like, okay, I'm looking at 100 to 160 grams of protein. Like, that's a huge range, but some days I'm going to hit 100. Some days I'm going to blow 160 out of the water, but having that range is good for me, because if I told myself on a bad day I have to hit 160 grams, I'm going to want absolutely everything besides that piece of chicken. Yes. So I really relied on just trying to be kinder to myself, and it's hard. It is hard to do that, but that's where I saw the changes, and I've been able to keep those changes moving forward because I've tried to change my mindset.
Yeah. And that's translated well in your role here. And as you've kind of, continue to build the training team, and the focus meetings have improved, and we're getting feedback on, how it's what you add into your life and not what you take away from your life. It's not what you restrict. So I hear the word grace. Like, you gave yourself grace, you gave yourself time, you gave yourself permission to be where you're at in that process. That was your starting point, and we're going to move forward. And I think that resonates really well, and probably speaks to some of you. So not to belabor this, so the final question, what piece of advice would you give to your younger self? You're older, wiser, more knowledgeable, had more life experience. So whether that's the 12-year-old you or the 20-year-old you, what piece of advice would you give yourself?
That you have to be adaptable. You have to, your life, you're going to go through many, many seasons of life. And those seasons can literally look week to week. They sometimes might be day to day. Seasons of life can truly be, they can be whatever that looks like for you. And so you have to give yourself grace, but you have to be adaptable. And what I mean by adaptable is kind of coming from that grace. I would tell myself that if this is your best, just do your best for that moment. Don't compare to what the best was a year ago. Because a year ago, you might have been in a different headspace, mentally. You could have been physically in a different place. But a year ago, so like if I'm talking to my 20-year-old self, a year prior to that's when I was 19, if I was capable of doing more, maybe, but I hadn't gone through the loss of my dad. So that 19-year-old self and that 20-year-old self are different. And I needed to give myself grace in the moment to do what I could in that moment while dealing with whatever I'm dealing with outside. So being adaptable and giving yourself grace is honestly what I would tell my younger self, what I tell myself daily, and what I tell members when we have focus meetings. And it's true. And when I say that, I'm speaking to myself too. There's some days, if you know me, Thursdays, that is always my day. Thursdays, I have like no motivation on Thursdays. And sometimes lately I've just told myself, it's okay. Hey, if you don't strength train, if you don't make it to camp on a Thursday, you know what? You're listening to your body. I'm resting, but I'm going to get out and at least get some vitamin D, or try what's your best. So if going on a walk is your best that day, if that's my best that day, I have slowly and still am very much learning the process of that's okay. As long as you do what's your best that day, that's where those changes are going to come.
That's great.
Mentally and physically.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for your willingness to share and kind of open up a little bit. We've gotten to know you, and the trainers have gotten to know you. And, you're
I hope you guys have gotten to know me.
Loved and hated, depending on the protocol. And so, we appreciate who you are and trusting us, and the members trust you. And so being able to share your story means a lot to us. Yes. This will be going on the rest of this month, as Jordan mentioned. Drop your comments below.
Ask me questions. I mean, Nate asked me questions, but if you guys have further questions, please ask away, and I will definitely respond to you either in the comments, or maybe it's for a greater conversation in camp, whatever that looks like. Still, ask away.
Yeah. And if you have a piece of advice that you would tell your younger self, and you're willing to share it to inspire, empower someone else in the Burn family, please also drop those below, because we truly are stronger together. And when we tell our story, it may resonate with someone else who needs to hear that. So that's what this month is about, is, highlighting the stories that are in the gym.
Yes.
And the families that are impacted and represented here.
And everybody's story is different.
Yes. Give yourself grace. That's the message for today.
Yes.
We love you guys. We appreciate you spending time. Tag someone that you didn't see get on this video. Make sure they go on the members page and watch it. Yep. Have a blessed day.
I'll see you guys 4:35, 36:30 if you haven't been in camp already.
Do it.
See you guys.